got a couple of points, A and B, and then we're asked to find the equation of the line through A parallel to the line y equals 4x minus 5. Right, so that means that the gradient of this line is going to also equal 4 because it's parallel. They have to have the same gradient. And then it goes through A, so I'm going to be using this here. And what I'm going to use is y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. By far the best formula to use for a straight line equation rather than y equals mx plus c, because you have to work out c and so on, whereas here I can just chuck in the coordinates. So y minus 7 is equal to 4 times x minus 2. Now you might say, all right, it asks me to write it as y equals mx plus c, but it's better. Y minus 7 is equal to 4x minus 8. Just add 7 to both sides. Y equals 4x minus 1. Done. Calculate the length of AB, given your answer in simplified surd form. There's two ways you can do this. You can either use the following formula. The length is equal to you find the difference between the y values, and then you square it, and then the difference in the x values, and you square it. You're essentially using Pythagoras' theorem. And where this is coming from, if I draw a little sketch, is the fact that I've got a point at -1, -2, so that's like down here, and then 2, 7, which is maybe up here. And you can find the distance between these by drawing a line, drawing a right angle triangle, and then it shows more clearly that, yeah, this is going to be y2 minus y1. It's a difference in your y's. And this is x2 minus x1. I'm trying to explain where the formula comes from. You can just use it, but of course it helps to understand it. Because actually you can do this graphically. You can just see that the differences between, let's do the y's first, between them is 9. So it's going to be 9 squared. And the differences in the x's is going to be 3, 2 minus 1. So 9 squared plus 3 squared, square rooted. Okay, I've not, obviously you could show that extra step where you actually are minusing them and then squaring them, but I've just gone straight to this. So that's going to become 81 plus, okay, let's write it down, 81 plus 9, which is the square root of 90. Right, we're not quite done because it's asked for simplified surd form. So now I need to find the largest square number that goes into 90. And that's actually going to be 9, isn't it? Because I'm left with 9 times 10, and 10 doesn't have a square number that goes into it, apart from 1. So it's going to become square root of 9 times 10. Showing all my working fully. This is the square root of 9 times the square root of 10 using our rules of surds, which becomes 3 root 10. That's my answer. Finally, we're asked to, let me just copy this question. Okay, essentially we're being asked for the perpendicular bisector in this question. I also need to remember where A and B are. Should have probably just copied the whole question down again. Okay, so if I sketch this out again, or maybe I borrow let's sketch it out again. Because again, I think it helps to just get a bit of a feel of what's going on. We've got a point here and a point here. And then somewhere along the line we're going to get a midpoint. I don't know where exactly it's going to be, but that's probably worth finding at this point, the midpoint. To get the midpoint, you add up the x values and you divide by 2. add up the y values, and you divide by 2. You basically find the middle, the number that's perfectly in between 2 and minus 1. 2 plus minus 1 is just 1, so this is going to be a half. That is 1.5 away from 2 and 1.5 away from minus 1. And then if I do 7 plus minus 2, that's going to give me 5. I'm going to get 5 over 2. I'll leave it as a fraction for now. So that's that. Okay, it's not in the right place, but that is that point there. Then I've been asked for the equation of the line that goes through this and is perpendicular to AB. So it's going to be like this, and it's going to be at a right angle. Okay, first things first, let's find the gradient of AB. MAB, that's what I mean by that. That's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, let's not rush. This is very easy to make sign errors. So I'm going to choose y2 to be 7. So it's 7 minus minus 2. And then to be consistent, my x2 has to be 2. 2 minus minus 1. I did it because then I'm expecting to get a positive on the top. And I do indeed. I get 9 over 3, which is just simply 3. Okay, onto the perpendicular line, this line here. M is then going to equal minus 1/3 because it's the negative reciprocal. I take my 3, I flip it around to 1 over 3 and I make it negative. The two of these must multiply to give minus 1. That's a fact that you can prove. I'm not going to go into that right now, but we get that M is equal to minus 1/3. And we're actually basically done then. We can use the y minus y1 formula again. I think I'll write it out. What do I have? I have a line that goes through the midpoint. So it goes through a half 5 over 2. So y minus 5 over 2 is equal to minus 1/3 x minus a half. We're not done because it's asked us to give the answer in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are integers. All right, it's not looking particularly nice, it's got to be said, because I've got 2 fractions here. Best thing to do, you could times by 2 and then times by 3. Best thing to do is actually just times straight through by 6. That's the lowest common multiple. So we're going to get 6y minus, now when I times through by 6, the 2's cancel. I'm left by just times them by 3. I'm going to get 15. You could do it a longer way if you want, but that's it. And then minus 1/3 times 6. Well, 6 divided by 3 is 2, so it's going to become minus 2 x minus a half. And then minus 2 times x and minus 2 times minus a half. That's going to be a plus 1. We're nearly there. I'm going to add the 2x onto both sides, make them both positive. So 2x plus 6y minus 16 equals 0. Actually turns out in this case that I think I can leave it like that, but there's a common factor of 2. So this is all fine. You'll get credit for this, but actually to simplify it, it would be x plus 3y minus 8 equals 0. So that's how I'm going to leave my final answer.